the desert of the real.
Welcome to the Desert of the Real. I am your host, Ryan Hudson. Joined with me, as always, is your other host,
Jason Dietz.
The Desert of the Real is a movie podcast where I force Jason to watch big blockbuster movies he's refused to watch because he didn't think they were worth his time. We are currently going through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're two high school teachers, on top of being podcasters.
Yes.
We teach...
We don't make quite enough money podcasting.
Right. We gotta make ends
to
meet.
Retire. Yeah.
Be English teachers. Between the two of us, we teach English classes, film classes. That's actually what I teach. But you teach English, philosophy, creativity, and a music theory class.
Music appreciation
class.
Yeah.
We have graduate degrees and try to use our academic training to dig deeply into movies. We explore the creativity, philosophy, film studies, and ethics in our films and push you, the listener, to think critically about your entertainment.
It's true.
Welcome, critical
As
thinkers.
everyone well knows, if you're still listening.
Of course we're listening. You're listening on...
After, what is this? We're almost to episode 40.
We're doing good. I mean, numbers-wise. Episode-wise.
Episode-wise,
We need more listeners.
Tell a friend.
Yeah, give us a like. Give us a follow. 5-star ratings really do help out.
They do.
We're in Good Pods. We're in all this stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, what movie did we watch today, Dr. Dietz?
Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
This is the second movie in Phase 4. So post-Endgame.
Okay.
And anyway.
This did not the whole time I was like, this is not a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, this has nothing to do with anything. I think there's one line in it where they're like, we live in the post half of the world disappeared world or whatever.
It's like we live in a world where half the population can disappear.
Right, and that's it.
Well, there's Wong.
Oh, and then Wong shows up at the end.
Well, he's got a little bit in the middle, but then there's Captain Marvel and then Hulk, Bruce Banner. Like, welcome to the chaos. And
yeah, but that's in the cut scene.
You're right.
So anyhow, the whole time I was I kept forgetting that I was having to watch this movie for this Marvel thing that we're doing.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, yes. And I liked it quite a bit. And I'll admit I'm a sucker for
Kung Fu
culture.
Oh.
For other cultures and.
Well, can I give you some background information that might make you appreciate it a bit more?
No.
Okay, so the Shang-Chi came out as a character in 1973. He was part of a special edition run. So in case it wasn't successful, whatever, he would have been born and died type of thing. It's like, oh, you think this might work? We'll try it here, and then maybe we'll give him a series later on.
It must not have been successful because I never heard of him.
That's the thing. He was successful. Oh. So in the 70s, Kung Fu was just kind of a craze anyway. It was kind of
Bruce Lee.
A popular trend. So in the 70s, he had a lengthy run. Going on over 100 issues or something.
Oh, wow.
Which is only heard of if you were the big boys.
Right.
Like the Fantastic Fours and X-Men type of thing.
Right.
So at the time, he was big, but he has fallen to obscurity. The writers who created him, they liked the TV show Kung Fu.
Okay.
Which a lot of tropes still seep to our culture today. Like the phrase, patience, young grasshopper, or whatever it is. It came from this 70s TV show. These writers asked Marvel to see if they can get the rights for the TV show Kung Fu. And they said no because it was Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers was in DC Comics. So Marvel's well, that's where all right, we'll make our own Kung Fu guy.
Right.
That's where it kind of came about. But in the comics, his dad was played by a character named Fu Manchu.
Yeah.
Which I learned doing a little bit of research for this. It was a character created in like the 30s or 40s. And very offensive. Like very stereotypical. Like, not just because he had the Fu Manchu mustache. It's more like he became a caricature of a lot of Chinese people. And so Fu Manchu was licensed to Marvel in the 70s. So the character, written for like novels or something decades earlier, was licensed to be his dad in this movie. And his origin's kind of the same. He was trained by the best of the best to be kung fu expert. Then your dad's the bad guy type of thing. So that is true to the comics, but they, wisely change some of that, maybe a little bit problematic beginning there.
That is smart.
Some other weird things, like Shang-Chi needed to have a white mother in the comics. So as part of like the appeal to the most people, like maybe he'll be half Asian and half white. So that's obviously different in the movie.
Right.
So like some things are getting upgraded for the better. And the other kind of thing that maybe helped push him to obscurity is in the comics, he's never had like superpowers. He's just the kung fu expert. He can take any weapon and fight with it type of thing. And then to capitalize on kung fu stuff, Iron Fist came out in the same time. And Iron Fist has powers. Anyway, Iron Fist just became more popular because, mixed in some superpower stuff. So it kind of largely wasn't until this movie where Shang-Chi kind of stepped in up to the bat. He's just been kind of teams here, teams there. He's just been whatever you need, Shang-Chi can just join type of thing. So he's kind of had a complicated history, but at one point he was big.
Cool.
Because Kung Fu kind of died down, and that kind of killed him. As a
performance art.
Yeah, like it just wasn't popular anymore to like Kung Fu as much as it was in the 70s.
So, long road to the Marvel movie universe, cinematic universe.
Because in a degree, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, those are D-tier characters. Or they were at the time.
Right.
Like we said at the episode, maybe you knew what they looked like. Oh, the tree guy, the raccoon that talks. But now they are A-listers. They're as famous as the Avengers.
Yeah.
So in a way, they're kind of looking at things, characters to grab. Actually, I also learned they've attempted or thought about making a Shang-Chi movie like for a long time, like back in the 80s, like when he was still kind of relevant. It's like, hey, maybe we'll make a Shang-Chi movie. And when the MCU was just getting started, they had a list of movies, and it was mostly just like a wish list at that point. But Shang-Chi's name was one of the movies.
Oh, wow.
Right when Iron Man, like in 2008. So it's been around, but easily forgotten until...
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the better Marvel movies, but like I said, it didn't have a Marvel movie flavor.
I think...
Really.
Yeah.
So one of my very, very favorite movies is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. And that's what I was comparing this movie to, rather than Iron Man or, Thor or anything. Because Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon has some, it's also martial arts based.
Yeah.
There's a great love story in it. But there's also semi-magical stuff going on in that movie as well. And I don't think this is as good as Crouching Tiger, but I think it compares pretty favorably to it. So
and what's interesting is the director isn't known for kung fu movies or anything. In fact, his biggest hit before this movie was Just Mercy, which is a lawyer movie in civil rights time.
Oh.
So and then he hasn't... I don't know what happens in the monster that is Hollywood. Why doesn't this person go do something else? Wasn't this successful? Even though all these movies that came out during COVID, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals, they didn't make money near as what Marvel's used to. So maybe that's kind of why. Maybe he's in director jail. But he has done some Chinese. He directed some of the American-Born Chinese, which is a series on Disney Plus. It's a book I love a lot. It's a graphic novel, but the series is just radically different. Oh. But it's got some Michelle Yeoh's in that one, and there's kung fu and stuff. But so that's similar to this. But anyway, it's kind of fun looking at his filmography. It's like, oh, how did this guy? Anyway,
get hooked up with the Marvels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot to like about this movie. It's visually it's very beautiful movie. Mm-hmm. Visually, I love that it might be the version I watched, but like probably a quarter of this movie is in Chinese.
No, yeah, a lot of it is in Chinese.
And I love that. Like, I was like, yes, I'm reading. Yeah, I think anytime we bring in other cultures, we should have to read their language. We should get the flavor of it.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, one of my recommendations of The Real is similar. A movie in a different language. I think the look of this movie, it's both good and awful at the same time. Because this is where...
Some of the CGI was bad.
Yeah, the CGI, like, you start to notice really heavily, backgrounds are just CGI. Like, right. I think the most famous, or the most iconic scene from this movie is probably, the bus fight in San Francisco. Yeah. And you could just tell, clearly nothing outside the bus is real or something. Right. Or especially at the fantasy land at the end. It's like they don't look like they're standing in a real place. Yeah,
that was pretty terrible. But.
And this is where you start to see, because I think there were 3 Marvel movies that came out this year. There was Black Widow, Shang Chi, Eternals, and Spider-Man No Way Home. There was 4 Marvel movies that came out on top of the Disney Plus series. So they are cranking out more content faster. So that's where we're starting to see strain with the CGI.
Yeah.
Where they're like, hey, make it look like this. We need more time. There is no more time. Or it's like, hey, can you change this? If we change it, it might not look as good. It doesn't matter. I want you to change it, type of thing.
Right.
So you start seeing maybe the CGI artists are maybe not able to do what they could be doing otherwise.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I did notice that, but yeah, the bus fight was pretty great, honestly. And the dude filming on the bus
was one of my narrating this fight.
Yeah. I have some martial arts experience. I'll be grading. Yeah, that dude was pretty great.
See, that's where you get some cool things. He takes off his jacket, fights, and then puts his jacket back on in one fluid motion.
Yeah. Actually the fight scenes I really enjoyed in this movie. Yeah. Probably because I've reached saturation with MCU's big fight scenes, and so these were, there were still big fights, but they were small, manageable, not necessarily realistic, but realistic-er fights. They were good.
I was thinking about you with the 10 rings themselves. Because you struggle when the power is not well defined, and these rings are mostly defined.
Yeah,
they shoot
I enjoyed
at you,
that.
They can hold on to you,
and that's
stuff.
Basically all they do. I like that a lot.
And I agree. I think the fights are well done.
Yeah, the scaffolding fight was also really cool, although stretches credibility because he doesn't have any power.
Yeah.
At that point, right? He's just a really well trained. But by that point, I was in, and so I was like, yeah, okay. So he falls and cracks his face and doesn't die. All right. I thought of another connection to MCU. So the Mandarin's here.
Yes. They have a whole explanation of the Mandarin.
Yeah, that was not my favorite.
What do you mean?
Ben Kingsley. I don't know. I like Ben Kingsley a lot as an actor, but I didn't feel like this was his shining moment. I felt like it was kind of forced.
I guess it's kind of because the Mandarin is an iconic villain, at least for Iron Man. And that's why when in Iron Man 3, it's Ben Kingsley is the Mandarin? That's cool. And then It's not. It's not, how it works at all. Shang-Chi's dad kind of takes steps into like the proper Mandarin role type of thing. So they're like, you were impersonating me, I'm gonna imprison you type of thing. And I still think he's funny. Like when the little animal comes out, it's like, you can see him? Oh, I thought I was hallucinating.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that was one of the few things that I didn't really care for. So, yeah, pretty good movie, good writing. I was in. So
I think this is a cool example for Marvel where Kevin Feige, like the guy behind all the MCU, he compares casting Simu Liu to casting Chris Hemsworth as Thor and Tom Hiddleston as Loki, relative unknowns. Because Simu Liu, he was basically an unknown. He's done TV. I looked up, he did one movie, kind of, and this is his breakout role as the main guy.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, Awkwafina's been around. But someone else that I didn't know was in this movie, when they go and have like dinner with like their couple friend.
Right.
The actress, Stephanie Su, she's just this minor character, and she hasn't been in any movies at this point. But a little bit later, she's in Everything Everywhere All at Once, like Oscar nominated after this, stuff like that. It's like, oh.
So this launched some people, huh?
Yeah. I mean,
cool.
Simu Liu, here's the frustrating thing. So, this movie does not have a sequel. And it came out...
That is kind of frustrating.
3 years ago. But if you look at... In the old MCU, Iron Man had Iron Man 2 just 2 years later. Thor had Thor 2 3 years after it. Captain America had Captain America 2 3 years after. And, like, maybe Thor is bad. Maybe Captain America is bad, but... It got a sequel to attempt to be something better, and now
this is far better than either of those.
So, like, where is Shang-Chi 2? And, like, the next movie we cover, The Eternals, also, where's Eternals 2? Why didn't Marvel not... Why aren't we continuing stories anymore? I don't know. This is where things are kind of starting to fall apart as, like, a franchise and fans watching it. Like, this isn't what I used to remember,
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's a shame, because some of the movies that got sequels are not as good as this movie, in my opinion. I had another positive, because in my negatives, as I was going through, like, my first negative comment was, this is a standard rom-com setup.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a rom-com. And then it wasn't really at all.
Yeah.
And then, like, at about halfway, when the dad was talking to Shang-Chi, and he's like, yeah, and here's the path, and blah, blah, I wrote, yeah, obviously the dad needs Shang-Chi to open the door for him, but he didn't.
No,
and
he just wanted him to join him.
Right, and so, like, this movie maybe that's why I liked it so much, it didn't follow, like, these tropes. I love that, too, because it's pushing back or like expanding or making space for itself, which I really, really liked.
Yeah. Kung Fu cool.
Yeah, the fighting is great.
Yeah, like you already kind of mentioned, but there's like a scene where he's fighting someone with the mask, and maybe this character has a name in the comics, but it's like their silhouettes and stuff. Mm-hmm. It looks cool. Then they go to that fighting ring where the guy Awkwafina's like, oh, my Chinese isn't very good. It's like, that's okay. I speak ABC. Like little things like that.
Yeah.
And here's something, I don't know if you caught on to it. Do you know who Wong was fighting in that cage?
The big green guy? No.
That was supposed to be Abomination from The Incredible Hulk.
That didn't look anything like it.
Didn't. He's got like fish fins and stuff. But it's the Abomination. And then it has a payoff in She-Hulk, the TV show. Abomination's in that with the same actor as in Incredible Hulk playing Abomination and stuff.
Oh.
So there's some connections there that you won't ever see because it's in the TV shows, but it's kind of cool. Like, what is that? Who I think it is? Like, yeah, it's just.
I would never have thought that was Abomination.
Yeah, it's a different design.
Yeah.
But he says his name. Like, you're supposed to pull your punches, Emil, and Emil's the guy's name. And
wow, yeah. I would never ever have picked up on that.
So I think there's a lot of fun stuff, and it just looks cool.
Yeah.
Even when it does, like we said, the CGI maybe not look stellar, it's not awful. It doesn't break the movie. Yeah. It's just distracting.
And I think the problematic CGI was background stuff for the most part, because the dragons I thought looked great. Mm-hmm. And the dragon battle fight I thought looked great. I loved how he took out the bad dragon, like he just blended him up or whatever he did. That was great.
I asked on Twitter what thoughts are in this movie, and we got at least one response.
Wow. Dang, we're moving up.
Betsy Gorham of the Never Seen It podcast said, I was really surprised how much I liked it. Love that it was true martial arts movie when the action hit, and I wish Marvel would hurry up and bring him back already.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for that response.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah, check out the Never Seen It pod. So, negatives.
The CGI, and then logic rears its ugly head here. So, if the Ten Rings have been controlling everything for thousands of years, how come we never heard of them before now in the MCU?
I told you, Marvel loves setting up these secret organizations,
right?
Or teams or whatever.
But when the narrator at the start, was talking about how there's no way no one knows they exist for all this stuff toppling kingdoms and killing and assassinating. Anyhow, that didn't really bother me. That's like scraping the bottom for a negative, really. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
So.
I don't have major complaints. This is a good one.
Yeah.
It's an origin story. Marvel is good at origin stories. They know how to make a movie.
Except for Captain America.
Right. And the first Thor, in my opinion. But they now know how to make a movie that at least is enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Even if it's a character you've never heard of before. But I don't really have a list of negatives. I'm ready for
what?
The philosophy.
Ready for the philosophy.
Yes,
okay, there's some good stuff here. So for me, more than any other Marvel movie, this one succeeds in the masks versus the true self. And it's at this point a trope for Marvel, that who's the person behind the mask, blah blah blah. But this is and they do it pretty well with Spider-Man. But I feel like here we get a more real, more visceral, true to life. This is the mask that I wear for the public, and my true self isn't out there. It's in here. And Shang Chi seems like he knows himself.
Yeah.
Like he understands himself, where most of us and most of the other Marvel characters really don't understand themselves at all. I mean, we can look at Bruce Banner. He has no clue until later on.
Yeah.
Iron Man, no clue. Captain America, no clue. Shang-Chi's already gone through that. Who am I? What's my value? What is my role in the planet? Blah, blah, blah. And so what we have here with this character is really a kind of a pinnacle person. Yeah. This is what most of us are aiming for, way down the road, to understand ourselves and to be as comfortable in our skins as Shang-Chi seems to be.
Okay. So wait. I want to see something.
Do it.
What philosophy or philosopher are you kind of summarizing here?
What philosophy or philosopher?
The idea of putting on masks and stuff.
Help me out.
Okay, so I was hoping. I was like, "There's no way he's gonna do this, right?"
Oh, but I did. Sorry.
No. I was trying to surprise you.
Oh, do it.
I have a little philosophy of the real.
Do it.
I was like, who are you as a person? That's what this movie is kind of focusing on.
Joseph Campbell? I don't...
This is what I did. And for the record, I'm not an expert here. I was just kind of reviewing things. I did learn about in college, but isn't this more Jung? Karl Jung? Okay, so this is what I wanted to surprise you with.
Do it. I'm in.
So, Karl Jung's model of the psyche we have the self, and then we have the conscious and unconscious. So it's like the part I'm trying to focus on is Jung's thing, like who is a person,
right?
And like the unconscious, there's like the personal unconsciousness, and then there's the collective unconsciousness. Because he has this whole thing, Carl Jung, of the persona,
right?
Putting on the mask, a mask for this, a mask for that. Because that's what Shang Chi. He's like, I want to live this life, parking cars.
Yeah.
And then his dad's like, nope, I need you to live this life. So then at the end, he has to find out who am I actually. Is that fair? Do you say?
I don't know if he has to find it out because he already knows. I got the sense that he knew himself, and so he's definitely wearing masks. I'm the bumbling idiot parking cars mask.
But he has to choose to.
He does have to
that
choose.
World behind.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I want you to fill in the parts that I'm either getting wrong. But I have a couple quotes. I have quotes for you.
Bring them on. I love quotes.
Carl Jung said in Volume 7.
My boy Carl Jung.
Like 20 in like 60 years or something. I don't know. The persona is a complicated system of relations between individual consciousness and society, fittingly enough, a kind of mask, designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other hand, to conceal the true nature of the individual. So surface level for Shang-Chi, he is trying to hide the fact he's a trained assassin. Kung Fu master. Yeah, for sure. He's trying to fit into society.
Right.
But on a deeper level, it's like, well, now who are you type of thing.
See, but the Kung Fu master isn't necessarily his self either. That's another persona that he plays when. Okay, so the concept of the persona is, like, we adjust what parts of ourself we present depending on who we're with and depending on, the social construct in the situation.
Yeah, like you act differently at work versus with your friends.
Right.
So who are you really? Anyway, keep
going. Right. Jung would say you're none of those. Your true self is never seen because society doesn't want to see it. It's too vulnerable. It's whatever, right? And so we do manifest parts of our true self in our personas, but our whole true self is never seen. And what constitutes a well-adjusted person is you see yourself, you understand yourself, and ultimately, if you succeed in, becoming a whole person, you are yourself all the time.
I was wondering, and it did happen. We kind of came with the same philosophical take here. Because I didn't know about the shadow stuff. Carl Jung says, if we live with a specific persona too long, it forms a shadow, the unknown dark side of personality.
Right.
So if, like, the mask is on too long,
right,
the shadow...
It becomes a part of...
Yeah.
It becomes a part of yourself. But you can, like, if you wear a mask long enough, eventually... It's like leaving contacts in.
Okay.
Like, if you leave, like, disposable contacts in for long enough, your eye will form around those contacts.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's fair. Yeah, that's a good metaphor.
That's what kind of happens with a mask, is your self kind of morphs and warps. The contact isn't a part of yourself, but it's been on long enough that... Because it's gross, and thinking about, trying to get that out of your eye and part of your eye is grown into it and whatever, that's kind of what happened. That's the danger. Those are the people that Jung... Because ultimately Jung was a psychologist, not a philosopher.
Okay.
Right? And so he's trying to help people and lift people and whatever. And so that's the danger part for Jung, is we have to know ourselves, know what's our mask in order to be healthy psychologically.
And I didn't realize till I was looking it up for this podcast, the archetypes are a Jung thing. Well, I mean, as in, like, helping you know yourself.
Right.
His thing is called Know Thyself, and you do a project in your class.
I do.
Helping students, like, who are you as a person?
Yep.
And I was like, hey, I know where Dietz got that from now.
Okay, now you're pulling the curtain back.
But it's like these archetypes.
My whole curriculum is plagiarized from somebody. You're right.
But I was like, I didn't make that connection that it's connected to Jung. Not that I've ever been an expert on Jung or anything.
I'm not either.
But we're all parts of different archetypes, you know? Like, why does someone do what they are? Well, maybe they're a little rebellious, or maybe they feel confined being in class, so they're more like the explorer, you know?
Yep.
So I just have one final thing on this part. It's this idea of self-realization, where I wrote down, and I probably got this from YouTube, but self-realization is the lifelong process of distinguishing self out of each individual's consciousness and unconsciousness. So I guess you realize yourself when you kind of figure out, like...
So, for Freud and Jung, we're a tripartite being. We have... So, Freud's is the id, the ego, the superego, right?
Yeah.
Jung kind of doesn't agree with that. And so we have the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, and the self. And so I think what that quote means is, like, a well-adjusted person has found and embraced who they are, independent of all of the stuff that's in your unconscious and all of the stuff that society has kind of programmed into your conscious mind. You are, I'm here, I'm me, and I'm good here. So these are the people that, well, I don't, like, that are able to do amazing things because they no longer are constrained by, this is what society wants me to be or expects me to be.
Right.
I am myself, and I'm going to be myself. There's no other self like me.
Yeah.
And so myself is contributing myself to the planet. Whereas if we accept the masks and the roles that society wants us to be, we're not individual selves. We all have the same, mass-produced masks that we wear.
Yeah.
And so there's no self. There's no creativity. There's no uniqueness. It's all just, we're all wearing this same mask and being this same type of person that society demands of us.
Yeah.
So Shang Chi, I think, multiple times is like, no, I'm not wearing that mask. I'm not wearing that mask.
Right.
I'm me. I'm good being me. I accept that this is my role, and I'm good with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jung was great to bring in. That was a good.
Well, I was like, he'll never see it coming.
I did not see Jung coming.
No, I like it when
call.
you know just things like this.
Yeah, that's the same thing with movie stuff for you.
Well,
like, I love it when you're like, oh yeah, well, that's this movie thing. So there's a couple of other really cool things. So it never says this, but I get the sense that Shang-Chi's mom married Shang-Chi's dad to kind of, like, swallow and contain the evil.
Yeah.
Because I'm strong enough to hold it and not, allow it out and to ruin things. And so I feel I really, really loved his mom's character because I felt like that's what she did. Maybe she truly loved his dad. I don't know. But at least a part of that, because he'd been ravishing the planet for like 1,000 years at that point. I feel like that's what she did. And maybe she loved him. I don't know. Yeah, but she contained that.
He finally took off the rings after 1,000 years to finally start aging and stuff.
Yeah. I love that level of, I am willing to do this for the world.
Yeah.
I will accept this evil into myself so that the world can be safer and better. I loved that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually what was going on in the movie, but
I don't think that's a bad take.
Oh, okay, thanks.
No, I think, I think that's fair to read it that way. She made a sacrifice.
Yeah, absolutely loved that. That was so good.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing, so love is a philosophical thing, but this movie has a really interesting, continuum, because how do you go, where's the line between I enjoy doing this, I really like doing this, I love doing this, and I'm obsessed with this, or I enjoy being with this person, I really like this person, I love this person, I'm obsessed with this person. So the question I was left with here is, does that always have to be the progression? Or is there a separate progression that leads to true love? Or is love always teetering on the edge of obsession? And I didn't come out with a good answer to that, but clearly Shang-Chi's dad has gone past the love part, right? Yeah. He's into the obsession part. And so I think that ties in nicely with the masks, because I don't know that his dad actually wanted to conquer the world. That was just, I found these rings. Yeah. This is what they do. I guess I'll play this role. Right. I don't know. So it was really cool.
Yeah.
And then the last piece, the quote. Uh-huh. When the mom's character is, prepping young Shang-Chi, and she says, look into your heart, the light and the dark. To know yourself, you must face both. And I think that plays into what you brought in about Jung. So this is a Taoist concept, the yin and the yang, right? The light and the dark. We all have the light and the dark. Mm-hmm. Most of us, especially most of us in Western society, are afraid of the dark. Yeah. We don't even want to acknowledge that there is a dark part of us. Right. We're like, oh no, I'm a good person. But in doing that, I think that's another mask that is warping us, because dark isn't necessarily bad. Right. It's not necessarily evil. There is a lot of beauty in dark.
I think Karl Jung, he actually doesn't kind of teach to feed both sides for a good thing.
Yes. But again, we're not talking about good and evil. Right. It's light and dark, or male and female is usually how it's presented in Taoism. So we all have both sides. The extent to which we can embrace both sides, and like the mom knows, to know yourself, you must know both. That's what's going to help us become healthy, powerful people who can change the planet. We recognize, okay, these parts of me fit here. Uh-huh. These parts of me that maybe society doesn't like so much, but they're also a part of me, they fit here too. Yeah. And I think Shang-Chi does a good job presenting that to us. Right. And helping us understand that we have to, at the very least, accept and at best love our complete self, independent of our masks, independent of what society wants us to be or do, the roles they want us to fill. Those are the people that become happy, well-adjusted, successful people. They embrace themselves, the good, the bad, the light, the dark, the male, the female. It's you. So we need, especially in Western society, I feel like we need to get to the point that we're good with that.
No, I love that. Is this what you were talking about? Anima and animus?
The anima?
Anima? See,
and the animus, yeah.
Is that similar?
It's a part of all. Jung is very... he's very complex and metaphysical. So the collective unconscious is a lot of fun to play with, and I don't know that we could ever say yeah there is or yeah there isn't, but he's got this idea that part of who we are is this connection to this collective knowledge set and experience set of everyone who's ever lived. that it's somehow around us or in us, and that's where, you know, talents come from. That's where, you know, I don't know, when you know something that you don't know, you know, that's where it's coming from.
Yeah. Interesting.
But so a lot of his stuff is very kind of less concrete stuff.
Okay.
But the masks are and the archetypes are a lot more accessible than some of the other stuff.
And it makes sense. It's like I talk to my students about how do you act at home versus with your friends and stuff.
So that's from Jung.
All right. I love all
among other people, but
well,
for this moment, it's Jung.
I love all of that.
Cool.
I wanted to bring up two things of film studies of the real, kind of like maybe a specific connection that might not be obvious to everyone because it involves knowing Shakespeare. When they walk into the prison and Trevor, he's quoting Shakespeare. He's like, wake up, Duncan, with thy knocking, I wish I would thou couldst. Which is funny because it's Ben Kingsley being silly.
Right.
But I think it's not out of the question to assume that was a specific Shakespeare chosen for a specific
that's
reason.
Macbeth, right?
That's Macbeth. And that's one that I know super well because I've taught it many times as a high school teacher. So in the part in the play Macbeth, someone's knocking at the door. He just killed the king. And he's already like, if only this knocking would wake up the king who I just murdered. He's already like, he's regretting it. And he's about to slip into madness and stuff where gets no sleep, yada, yada, yada. Like, anyway, there is a knocking on a big door in this movie. And I think that's why they chose this little part for Ben Macbeth. Kingsley to say. Because the person knocking in the movie is like this big evil dragon that will kill the world type of thing. But it's tricking the dad to, like, it's the mom. So, like, the dad is essentially Macbeth. It's like, who's this knocking? I want it to be something specific. I want it to be my wife who's dead. And the Shakespeare connection is...
That's really cool.
I wish this knocking would wake up the king who I love, but I just murdered type of thing.
Yeah. Huh.
So, I mean, I don't know, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that's all planned. That was on purpose there. All right. I have then a media literacy of the real. That's okay.
Why do you always say is that's okay?
I don't know. Okay, so a common theme, and I was like, is this going to be a good take? And then I'm like, no, this movie is telling me over and over again this is what it's about. Is this idea of growing up and moving on. And when they're at the Awkwafina's house at the beginning, she says something about not wanting to move on or moving on because, like, you're going to be park cars for the rest of your life. And then someone says, moving on is an American idea. Yeah. And like, oh, you're American, don't forget type of thing.
Yeah.
But the Awkwafina and Shang Chi are choosing not to move on and not grow up. They're fine with their little job, parking cars, and at the moment want nothing else to do.
Yeah.
But then life gets in the way, and Shang-Chi... And so this might kind of go against what you were saying earlier about he's already self-realized type of thing. But this idea of, like, who is he as a character? Is he what his parents made him? Is he the result of his dad abusing him to become a fighter? Or is he separate from that because he literally got away? So this idea of, who are you? Are you who your parents are? Are you who... like, when do you become your own person? Which is what inspired me to look up Karl Jung stuff. Because I think that's what Shang-Chi is trying to find out for himself. Like, what do I've had my whole life, now who am I type of thing. And there's a few lines that I think that kind of reinforce that. There's a line that says, names are sacred. They connect us to ourselves and everyone that came before us. Because he asked Awkwafina, what's your name? All right, Katie, what's your Chinese name? And then she said her Chinese name, and the dad said that. Like, you are connected to your ancestors. You're connected to your parents. So he's like, you are who your parents make you. Or that's kind of one reading of it.
Right.
Because he wants his children to do what he wants them to do. Like,
right.
you need to do my work type of thing. So in a way, it's not out of the question to kind of see this of literally stepping away from your parents, or you don't need to be who your parents think you are, or what your parents believe even doesn't need to be what you believe. His dad is like, your mom's back there, you need to believe this too. So you could do like a secular level, like, oh, you don't have to have the same beliefs necessarily, but it's also like, even removed from secular, it's you are your own person.
Yeah.
You can take what your parents gave you, or your life lessons for parking cars for a while, and now you got to grow up type of thing.
Yeah.
But there's some more. Sorry, there's a lot. An Aquafina, she's doing the arrows. She shoots the arrow at the end. The arrow guy just says, if you aim at nothing, you hit nothing. So she's aimless right now. She doesn't want to grow up, move on, and learning how to shoot arrows, then shooting the dragon. She's like, I gotta move on with my life type of thing.
Yeah.
It kind of reinforces... anyway, yeah, it just reinforces that idea of, like, you gotta aim at something to go somewhere. And then the flashback right before the mom gets murdered, she says something like, the man that you are wanting revenge for isn't the same person. Like, he's changed. He's a family man. He's taken off the rings. And they say, it doesn't matter. So there are going to be people in life that don't care that you've changed as a person.
Yeah.
That will attack you, even though you've gone through experiences. Maybe you went to school or relationship. You just learned things and grown. Some people, or whatever, might not care. It's like, doesn't matter. We're going to beat up that part of you. Or, attack that part.
That doesn't exist anymore. Yeah.
And then, this is what I mean. Like, there's just line after line just reinforcing this movie about growth, change, and stuff. You are the product. This is Michelle Yao. She says, you are the product of... So, that... I think I misspelled. You are the product of all that came before you, the good and the bad. And then when he finally gets the rings, you hear this voice that says, take everything we've given you and make it your own.
Yeah.
Where he needed to use his mom's, like, calming... I don't know how the fight style. There's probably a specific fight style.
I'm sure.
Where it's not aggressive, it's flowing.
Open-handed.
That's how he took the first 5 rings. And his dad's all like, attack, but he needed to be both.
Yeah.
To make it his own.
Yeah.
So it's... No matter what the cards you're given in life, maybe you have good parents, bad parents, whatever, the good and the bad, who are you going to be, and what are you going to do after that?
Yeah. Cool.
That's the strongest theme I found.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So do you think then, since you've presented one idea and I've presented the other, so is there a self independent of everything that exists, or do you feel like what you've presented, that we are the sum of our experiences, or is it a mixture of both? Putting you on the spot.
I know. Hold on. I guess gotta understand the question.
So is there a you that exists? There's a little homunculus, this little dude in you, not dude, but this little Ryan Hudson, that is the true Ryan Hudson, that has been kind of covered over by all of these other things like Jung would suggest, or are you the product of, well, my parents did this and added this part, and my religion did this, and my, I don't know, schooling did this, and now I'm the sum of all the things that I've suggested or accepted?
Okay. I don't think there's one answer to this question.
Correct.
But I have, philosophers.
You should be in my philosophy class.
So, okay, I have 2 children. 2 years apart, rather young, and they are radically different.
Sure.
So, I mean, how much person could a 2-year-old be? Well, the truth is a lot.
Yeah.
A little fireball,
yep.
Sassy little 2-year-old. So, like, on one hand, yes, there is a person you were born with a person.
Okay.
100%. But at the same time, I can't. But then the other, This is one of those. There's no one answer because of course you're.
Welcome to philosophy.
All right, like there's no way that I am who I am because of, or like parts of me are the way they are because of like my friends growing up and family and stuff. But which one's stronger? I don't know. This might sound bad, but I might lean towards. I don't know. It's just like the Jung thing we were saying. The conscious mind.
Right. So for me, I'll let you think for a second.
Okay.
So for me, I think I tend to agree with Jung that where are we at?
I can't see. Oh, about an hour right now.
Oh, nice. I tend to agree with Jung that there is a core me.
Yeah.
I accept that I am also the product of, my parents, my religion, my blah, blah, blah.
Okay, at the moment, that's where I am stuck that I just said.
Okay. But I am 2 decades older than you, and I feel like I have progressed to the point that I am okay with myself independent of those things.
Right.
So if you meet me somewhere else, I'm going to be basically this guy that's on this podcast. I'm this way at church. I'm this way at home. And there are obvious differences, but I feel like, and this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. The most comfortable I've ever been in my life in my own skin, because I hated myself for, most of my teenage years. I thought I was ugly. I thought there was something wrong with me because I was an introvert, and blah, 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 blah. And so I feel like, when we are successful in integrating ourselves with the expectations of others, the expectation of society, and we get to a point where I'm good right here. This is me. I don't need to put on a mask to be at church or to be, on a date or to be wherever. I'm me all the time. Right. I think that's what the ultimate message of Shang Chi is. We need to get to that point where we're an integrated self. Yeah. And we can be that person all the time. Because shifting masks inherently tells us that there's something wrong with ourself. Yeah. When we put a mask on,
or we wrong. Maybe that's the wrong word.
Well, but maybe not, but we're covering up or preventing a part of ourselves from manifesting in certain social situations because it's not okay, in air quotes, to be that there.
You're making me think, because...
Oh, no.
Or even just self-reflect. That's probably the better word. Because I'm super introverted and shy. Like, when I'm at places where I have no desire to talk to anyone.
Yeah, me either.
I don't want to be that way necessarily. Like, if I'm at home with my family, I'm super open.
So, if we take just that one thing, now we're on the couch, right? We take just that one thing, if being introverted is a part of who you truly are, I don't want to be that way. That's society saying you need to put this mask on because real people or healthy people are extroverted.
It's good people are extroverted.
Well, there are good introverts, good extroverts. It doesn't mean that you're a healthy, well-adjusted person just because you're an extrovert. I don't mean that at all. So the idea that there's something wrong with being introverted is something that has been put on you. If being introvert is a part of your true self and you accept that that's not okay, then there's some distance between your true self and the person that you are in social situations.
Okay.
I think that would be a kind of a Jungian analysis of that one thing. And so So, to bring it back to Shang Chi, are you done? Were you done? I'm sorry.
I'm done. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You asked.
I don't even remember where. Oh, is there a true self that's covered by masks, or are we the product of all of the expectations? Yeah. And so you said you never actually
I never
answered
really
the
answered.
question.
I got stuck. On
Did I? And then I said, let me give my point of view so that you can think. So what did you come up with? Or not?
I guess I don't know. There's not an answer, but
but there is.
It's hard not to. I don't know. I can't see my personal self in a way that's not been affected by everyone else, type of thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Even if it's like the introverted part, it's like, I'm not like, so, I'm not like that person, or I wish I was like this person or something. So I don't know.
So that I wish I was this person, as Jung would say, is another mask. It's another,
not like,
or I wish I had that quality.
Yeah, something like that.
Or I wish, and so I'm sure everyone knows I lean heavily towards the Eastern philosophies. I feel
our fans are like, oh, he's leaning Eastern again.
I feel like they have a very healthy answer to who am I, and getting to the point where I am who I am. And I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to, change that to make you feel comfortable. I think that's a really healthy place to be. It's a radical place to be, especially in Western society. But I think the whole, LGBTQ movement is based in that idea that I'm me. I am myself. I've been trying to be someone else. I'm wearing this mask over my true self so that society can be comfortable, so that my family can be comfortable, so whatever. But I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'm healthy, happy. This is who I am.
Yeah.
I mean, the LGBTQ movement is just one example of a group doing that, but I feel like that's the impetus behind that movement.
Yeah.
Is taking off the masks and being comfortable in our skins with who we are. And so, I don't know how much of that's going to make it into the podcast.
I think this has all been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm a huge advocate for that. Know thyself.
Yeah. But also,
or understand thyself is what I'm now calling it. Understand thyself.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
It's also, though, it should be noted, it's good to change and grow.
Oh yeah.
And
of course.
if you see someone in better shape, I could work out more.
Yeah, of course.
Something like that.
That's growth.
If I see someone doing something, I think that's cool. I want to learn how to do that.
Yes.
Is that?
Yes, that is important as long as that's something that you want, not something that society says that I should be this masculine guy, and so that guy's masculine, I guess I'll go work out so I can be like that guy. And so it's a difficult balance to strike, and it's all about, like I said, it's all about understanding who you truly are.
Yeah.
So that when those thoughts come up, you can evaluate: is this something that society is pushing me to do or think or be, or is this something that I truly myself want to be that or do that?
See,
or
think that's
that.
where I think about that a lot, because it's also easy to see like the negative parts of ourselves. Like, man, I wish this or whatever.
Especially in Western society, because we're built to look for that. We're built to look for weaknesses and overcome them, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but the end result of that is none of us are comfortable in our skin. Because there's always going to be somebody that's better at X thing than you. Yeah. And so we in the Western society, and in America especially, are trained to compare what we consider our worst aspects with the best aspects of someone else.
Right.
So whatever. Michael Jordan, I can't dunk from the free throw line. Well, okay, Michael Jordan, I'd like to see him try and teach a high school English class, right? Like he'd come. Well, okay, maybe he'd come in and they'd be like, "Oh, Michael," but
let's be honest.
but I like that, and so, and that there's so much here because the Eastern sense of the individual is so different from the Western sense of the individual. Like, I don't know how much of this we want, but the idea of I am me, separate from you, separate from the social group that I belong in, is a very Western idea. Eastern sense of self is always secondary to the I am a part of this group. And that's traditional Eastern. And I think that as Western culture leaks into the Far East, that's changing.
Yeah.
But traditional Eastern culture, the self, the individual, is always subsumed in the group. And so this quest, to be our best, we're going to cut most of this. Let's leave it. Okay, let's move on.
I'm like, what's so funny?
Yeah.
This Sunday, I was sitting in Sunday school, and I'm like, I wish I could just talk to people. I feel so alone right now.
Yeah.
I don't talk to anyone here. I don't know anyone. I don't go out of my way to talk to anyone here. And I was like, man, I don't like this type of thing. So that's what I was like, I don't know if I don't even get into stuff like that. But I was like thinking about stuff like on Sunday. I was even like, man, I feel lonely in the room with all these people. So I'm just here by myself, kind of.
So,
yeah. Anyway.
Do you want to change that?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Or does society want you to change that?
I could.
So if your true self is, I want that.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to hint at earlier, but it's like...
Then Jung would say, go for it.
Go for it.
If it's not you putting on the mask of extroversion so that you can be more accepted or whatever, then go for it.
That was my goal. And maybe it still will be this year. Fake it till I make it. Because I am so not let me just talk to even students. It's like, when students come to talk to me, I'm like, soon you'll learn this is not going to be a fun conversation. I'm not a good conversationist or whatever. But I'm like, I got to just blah, 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 blah.
Or not.
I know, or not.
Just make sure it's your true self
that
wants that. Jung would say, and Shang Chi would say. So, cool.
So there is a dessert of the real.
Okay.
And that's when, they go eat food. But my favorite thing is when they get drunk and go to karaoke, especially with Wong.
At the very, the cut scene at the end.
It's like, we could do, you gotta go home and get some rest.
Yeah, we could do that.
Or they're singing.
Yeah, that was fun.
Okay, I have 2 recommendations of the reel that I'm very excited about. Okay, they're the dad actor. His name is Tony Leung Shi-woo Tony Leung Shi-woo. That might not be accurate, but he has a movie called In the Mood for Love. And if you hear a movie is called In the Mood for Love, I'm
personally not going to watch it.
Exactly. However, you'd be wrong, because In the Mood for Love is so, so, so beautiful. It's in the year 2000. It's even rated PG.
Wow.
But I felt like I needed to say thank you to this movie after finishing it. In the Mood for Love is a work of true beauty. It's about this a man and his wife. They move into this apartment next to this other man and wife, and one of the husband and wife are having an affair with each other. So the actor who was the father in Shang Chi is just falling in love with his neighbor because his wife is having an affair. And the thing is, something cool. You don't even see his wife in the movie. She's always off screen. And her husband, who's having an affair, you never see him. He's always off screen. It's just these two people. And they... I can't recommend it enough. It's a 5-star movie, easy for me.
Wow.
Beautiful movie.
Cool.
And then the other one, Awkwafina. She's in a lot of cartoons with a big voice actor nowadays. But if you watch the Farewell from 2019, also PG, it's like, wow, Awkwafina can act. Cool. And it's a movie, it's about her grandmother is dying, but her family chooses not to tell her she's dying, and they take her back to China to say...
Oh, I've seen that one. That is good.
Goodbye. And it's largely in another language.
Yeah.
In Mandarin. In Mandarin. And it's just another movie that's so touching and beautiful.
That is a good one.
And I saw it in theaters, actually. And it was me and a buddy of mine, and literally everyone else was Asian, like, in the theater. And it was just cool. It was two mostly foreign movies that I recommend highly.
Cool. I'm going to toss another one on. I already mentioned it, but Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is like... every time I even say it, I get goosebumps because it is such a gorgeous, perfect, beautiful, perfect movie.
Yeah.
So if you enjoyed Shang-Chi, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is the movie that, like, it's the pinnacle of everything Shang-Chi was trying to do. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Not that Shang-Chi was bad, but anyhow. So I would say Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
And it's Michelle Yeoh, right?
Young, yeah, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And then if you enjoy, like, mask type, who am I type, actually, did I already recommend Predestination?
You did, but go for it.
Man.
It was in our bonus episode last week that maybe not everyone listened to.
Okay, then I will do it. There are a lot of really good movies that deal with the who am I, the mask. Predestination is, like if I mentioned it last week, here it is again, just a magnificent exploration of this. Actually, I'm not going to tell you anything. who am I? But there are others like Memento. I don't know if we've ever mentioned Memento.
Yeah, it's one of your favorites.
Yeah, one of my top 10 favorite movies. It's literally the who am I, what am I supposed to do, what's my calling, etc., etc. I also love Selfless, is another movie like that in the same vein. Who am I? What am I doing? What is my true self? Kind of movie. And then you've got like The Bourne, Jason Bourne, and those kind of movies. Those are pretty good. But Memento, Predestination, I highly recommend. Those are both rated R. I apologize. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is PG, and I think everyone on the planet is PG-13, maybe. I don't know why it would be
PG-13.
Really? Okay.
There's I haven't seen it in years, but
okay.
There
is a little. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, watch it on VidAngel or not, but it's one of my top 5 favorite movies of ever. Is gorgeous. So there you go.
Did you know there was a prequel made?
I would.
Straight to Netflix.
I would never ever watch that. Ever in my life.
I didn't see it. I haven't seen it.
Even if you said we're stopping the podcast if you don't watch it, I'd be like, peace.
I don't know. Anyway, I remember when it came out. It was kind of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon
2.
Sword of Destiny from 2016.
No, I'm cutting all of that.
It's kind of Netflix was like, hey, here's one of the first original movies.
Wow. Yeah. No.
To get people. I don't know anything about it.
No.
It does have Michelle Yeoh.
Really?
You should watch it.
No, I'm not. I would never.
I gotta watch Crouching Tiger.
I don't watch
sequels, except for all.
No, I watch a lot of sequels now, but I don't watch sequels to perfect movies.
Anyway, thanks for listening.
Just chop that off.
Yeah.
Because if it's perfect, you should stop. T2, perfect. Stop it. Mm-hmm. No, they made friggin' 800 more of them.
Yeah.
Scream, perfect. Stop.
Yeah,
no, you gotta make more and more
Scream,
and more.
Tropes keep getting made. Anyway, more tropes to
yeah, whatever.
Anyway.
They didn't make a sequel to, like, The Shawshank Redemption. Why isn't there Shawshank Redemption 2, The Life After Prison? No, because it's a perfect movie and you just leave it alone.
What is the,
okay,
this is
no. We need to stop.
All right, yeah, quit talking.
I hate. Anyhow, yeah. So thanks for listening. I don't know how much of all of the philosophical wandering is going to end up in there and all the personal stuff, but
yeah. How do we usually end this show? Next week we are supposed.
Next week we're gonna do one of mine because
here's the thing.
Oh.
Next week it's supposed to be Eternals, but my wife might have a baby.
Yeah.
I might not be able to do it. So
plus
a little
also
hiccup in the row. So Jason might.
Plus also
something.
we're gonna have a special guest. This is my first one, huh?
Yeah.
That I invited. So my best friend from my early adulthood is going to be joining us. I owned a business with him for a number of years. Great mind, great critical thinker, and I'm really excited to have him so that the two of us can attack Ryan instead of him bringing his friends to attack me.
So if, depending on the baby situation, maybe Eternals
or what will most likely be is a Jason's choice.
Yeah.
We are going to watch I think it's a mockumentary. It's called Thank You for Smoking. And it's kind of a critique on the lobby system of passing laws in Congress, which makes it sound extremely boring. It is not boring at all. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun, but it's also incredibly insightful into some of the problems. Which it's an older movie, but I think it's just getting more, like, it's increasingly relevant rather than less relevant. So most likely we'll be watching Thank You for Smoking. And then we'll get to the Eternals,
when we do,
post labor,
depending on baby.
Yeah, depending on baby.
Anyway, so thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. And we love you.
Think critically.
Oh yeah, think critically.
We love you.
We do love you.
Bye.
Bye. Wow, that was.